BluMetric Environmental Inc. is Canada's premier water solution and environmental consulting company. BluMetric provides a full range of environmental consulting services supported by bespoke engineering solutions for emergency, self-contained, and permanent water systems, and is always mission ready with a full range of in-house support to ensure your mission is a success.
And welcome to the Over the Horizon podcast here at DefSec 2023. This podcast is brought to you by our good friends at BluMetric. I'm Alan Dale. With me as always, my good buddy Jerry Carew, and we are Gale Force Winds. Great to be in conversation with some of the people that are in the room talking about the important events in the Atlantic Canadian aerospace and defense industry. Tom, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Sure. My name's Tom Dunne. I just retired after 35 years in the Air Force. Had the pleasure of working and serving all across Canada and in the United States for the last 6 years of my career. But really brought home to me the importance of the Arctic. Much of my career was in search and rescue, flew the C-130 Hercules and the Buffalo from Greenwood, from North Carolina, from Trenton, and from Comox. So I had the opportunity to travel, to rescue, to search, to look and see the vast expanses of our country and how better we can work towards helping the citizens here.
So you're a near perfect fit for this conference, obviously. So Arctic safety and security, doing all that work in SAR. Tell me, what are you doing in the moment? Are you your own business, or are you consulting with somebody?
Yeah, I left the forces in January, and I started with CFN Consultants, working with CFN Atlantic, helping companies connect themselves with the government and helping them make the right choices to be able to work better with our government throughout Canada.
Is there an ideal client that you have in mind, the type of company that you want to work with, Sam?
I don't know that. I think ideal client is one that's got something of value that they can help. Because I think we offer a great service, much like a COA does and a CATA does already. They're helping companies succeed, and we want to do that too. We want to use our knowledge of how the procurement system works, how our government system works, and what our forces needs, because we also want to be of value to the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, and make sure that they get what they need and good products. So we can certainly make it win-win-win for those companies that have something to offer.
First time at Mass?
First time at Mass, yeah.
So what are your initial thoughts?
It's very interesting so far. Some great panels this morning. A few I'm looking forward to hearing, but from everything from ice strengthened hulls to the people of the North and how better to engage them. It's fascinating.
Yeah, well, there's certainly a lot going on in Atlantic Canada at the moment, both in industry, academia, and government support behind it. It's a bit of a sweet spot. Nice time to be transitioning out of the Air Force and into this, what I would argue, a very vibrant sector. Would you agree?
I would, and I ended up retiring in Prince Edward Island with my wife, and it's become clear to me that there is a huge amount of opportunity and potential for Atlantic Canada businesses. The amount of defense companies that are doing fantastic work and the amount of opportunity that they have to grow and investment that's needed in coming to Atlantic Canada, it's a very, very exciting time.
Yeah, 100%. And of course, organizations like CATA, the Atlantic Canadian Aerospace and Defense Association, which I know CFN is a big part of and a big supporter of, it's so important to have those organizations that bring all the members and the thought leadership together. Would you agree?
I would, and I mean, my first conference I went to was Defense Trends in Moncton, and seeing some of the same people and the great work that's being done and some really cutting edge, interesting solutions that are being developed within Atlantic Canada that ACATA is helping to bring forward. It's a very impressive resource. ACATA is doing very impressive things, and happy for CFN to play a role in helping those people connect with the government whenever we can.
Yeah, it's a great time for a guy like you, living in Prince Edward Island, transitioning out. You also mentioned to me before we started taping that you're dabbling in academia as well. Explore that a little bit for me.
Sure, I had the pleasure of teaching last fall with the Faculty of Business at the University of PEI. May again, so was teaching strategic management with them. So very enjoyable time reconnecting after my first time in academia as a teacher after my own degrees and my own journey.
You must bring a very different lens to the conversation, having been a flag officer, providing strategic leadership to our military, bringing that into the classroom. How was that received?
I think it was well received. Yeah, I certainly do have a different bent than many of the professors that are there, and I can add my own military practical experience from 35 years from time in the U.S., time in the Pentagon, time overseas, commanding a very different side of strategic management, but I think it was well received.
Jerry, your thoughts?
I just find it amazing. What you've done for a career is commendable. Do you miss being in the air? Do you get in the air much anymore?
I very much miss being in the air. I had a tour of one of the clients yesterday at the airport, and just smelling aviation fuel, being around noisy airplanes, it really did bring it back to me. So yeah, I love being in the air. Who knows, maybe I'll get up in Charlottetown and get up in the airport there in the near future, I hope.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much.
I have to tell you, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you into your new life in this ecosystem in the defense world here in Atlantic, Canada. There's no doubt in my mind you're going to have a great deal to add to the conversation and take us to that next level with your leadership. So I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Thanks very much for the interview. Appreciate it.
BluMetric wants to partner and work with Atlantic Canadian industries and organizations who are concerned about the water health of our planet and the people who inhabit it in an environmentally and culturally sensitive manner. BluMetric wants to join the growing number of like-minded, innovative Atlantic Canadian companies who are changing the environmental landscape for the globe in a world-class way.